I I am.
Thank you. Got it. Okay. All right. I'll just, did you guys, did everybody see it? I guess it looks like everybody did. Okay. Because
Yep.
I'm not going to go through the whole thing of it, but I'll just, okay. Um, obviously, it's a semi-autobiographical film loosely based on Spielberg's life from the age of 8 to 18. It was dedicated to his parents, who both, and this is what I thought was interesting, wanted and nagged him to make the movie, but he was afraid to. So for 20 years, he's been thinking about making it, but was afraid to make it because he was afraid how they might take how they were depicted in the film. Um, it was, let me see, after he was making West Side Story with Tony Kushner, uh, Tony is, I guess he was telling him about his life, and Tony is the one said, you got to, you got to do a film about this. So it was kind of Tony, right after West Side Story, decided, kind of pushed him to do a film. John Williams does the music, and of course, John Williams has done so much music for Spielberg. But the one thing that was kind of interesting, that it was not a box office hit. It cost $40 million to make, and so far it's only made 31.5 million. So just like West Side Story, even though, I thought it was good, not a box office hit at all. It premiered at the Toronto Film Festival in September of 22, and it has widespread critical acclaim. Nominated for 7 Oscars. It has 25 wins of other uh, awards and 261 nominations altogether. Now, I liked it because, first of all, I liked the era that it takes place in, of course, because I recognize it. And I found it sweet and kind of charming and then kind of interesting about a family dynamic. So I find those kind of interesting. Uh, okay, the storyline, a middle-class Jewish family has lived in various cities in the middle of the 20th century, and it centers around artistic drives and personal responsibility, or talent versus pragmatism, etc. Starts out, I think the beginning of the movie sets up the whole thing. He's 8 years old and his parents take him to his first film. And this is where you really see the differences in artistic drive and kind of the pragmatism of the two. The mom is saying, you're going to love movies, it's all about feelings and dreaming, and the father is telling him about persistence of vision and 43 frames per second and being the engineer. So the engineering part, the thing that I found so interesting is that both of his parents were brilliant. They were both brilliant, but brilliant in such different ways. And I think he got a little bit of both, in that. And I think that's what makes him so, prodigy that he is. Um, he's obsessed. Oh, afterwards, let me see. He's obsessed with the train scene in uh, that first film, which is, The Greatest Show on Earth. By the way, The Greatest Show on Earth was filmed here in Sarasota. As you probably know, that this was the winter time where all the circus people came here in the winter time. So right here in Sarasota. And some of the people that were in the film and some of the people that were doing the stunts still living here, and occasionally they'll do talks, and you can go over there and see. They still have the sailor circus here, and the sailor circus it's for kids. So you have 2-year-olds up to maybe 18-year-olds that are doing trapeze and they're tightrope walking and all that stuff. So they're still teaching it. And one of the best things, at least I think it's kind of interesting, just a side note here, that at the Catholic Church, St. Martha's was the Catholic Church in Sarasota for all the circus people. And to this day, when you leave the church, the ending procession music is "There's no business like show business," and that's the church. So I think that's great. Anyway, okay. So anyway, little Sammy, I love the way they named his film too. I thought it was interesting that it's semi-autobiographical, and I think part of it is a fable and part of it is real. But anyway, the little boy Sammy is obsessed with the train crash scene in The Greatest Show on Earth, and he keeps on reproducing it with his own toy trains, which of course his mom comes up with the idea, well, just put it on film and then you don't have to be ruining all these train sets. So again, just being brilliant from the moment that he got a camera in his hand. He continues to get better, realizes the power of films in so many different areas of his life, between family and friends, and how he can make friends with films, and just how powerful film is. There's a list of things. The one thing that I kind of noticed is that during the entire film, as we know, he finds out that his mother is having an affair with his father's best friend. And that is something that has, it shows up in his movies like E.T. and Close Encounters, the idea of family that's broken apart. He doesn't tell anybody about that, and I think that had a big effect on making movies. But the thing that got me is that the father, the engineer, and of course he is the bread maker, or I mean the money maker, or the breadwinner. But they're always moving so that he can keep following his dream, the computers, and you understand that, but you can see why his mother was kind of unhappy. I mean, she's brilliant too in her own way with her piano playing, and could be a concert pianist, and she was just so different from the father, and so all of her dreams get kind of squelched down while the father keeps on going to all these. And of course, at that time, that's kind of what happens, with a lot of women. We all kind of know women that kind of pushed themselves just to be mothers and stay at home and take care of the kids. Bert was another character that I thought was so interesting, because you can see why the mother, at least I could see why the mother and the Bert could get together. He was fun loving, he had a sense of humor, and he was kind of like her. He just loved having a good time. She loved having a good time. And I think it shows it so well in that scene where his father is trying to teach the kids how to make a fire, where Bert is making like a slingshot or something like that on a tree with the mother. And you could just see the complete difference in the personalities of the two men. Then Judd Hirsch, and like you said, Judd Hirsch is phenomenal in this. People who have talent must commit to it and not waste it. And it was like it just told Spielberg, or Sammy in this case, it's going to be hard, and it's going to break apart your family, and you have to do it anyway. So I love Judd Hirsch. I thought in his small little part, he was able to take the whole movie and say, this is what it's all about. What I thought was kind of interesting too is that for 20 years, Spielberg, I'm talking about Spielberg now, not Sammy. Spielberg thought that his father had left his mother. And he was kind of angry for about 20 years. You know, he thought that the father had left, had left the mother. And it turns out, and he found out that the mother actually left the father, but the father never told Spielberg about it. And wasn't until after something like 20 years that he found out that his mother actually left. It wasn't his father that left. And he was so angry for all that time. And so that was kind of interesting too. So I think, again, the divorce affected all of his movies, not just that. Anyway, I enjoyed it. I just thought it wasn't. Is it his best film? No, but at least not to me. But I really enjoyed just how he got into his family and was really open about the dysfunction and all that was happening in the films. And that's all I have to say. So who's next? All right, anybody?
8 awards.
Go
ahead, Pete.
I'll jump in. This is going to be kind of a weird criticism of the movie, but
Okay.
I had a hard problem ignoring the fact that it was an autobiographical movie. Before I started playing it and I saw how long it was, 2.5, I go, well, of course it's 2. There's no way Spielberg's going to edit himself out of the movie. I would have probably enjoyed it a lot more if it was strictly fictional, all fictional characters, not based on any real people. But I think Spielberg is, God knows, he's had a lot of success. I think he's pretty high on himself anyway, and so it seemed only natural that he would. Hell, was probably all I could do to cut it down to 2.5 hours. You know what I mean? So I couldn't get away from that in the back of my mind. It's a great story, but the fact that it was him making a movie about him, I just kind of had a little problem with that. I couldn't shake that as I was watching the movie. So
that's interesting.
Probably not a fair indictment of the film itself, but that was in my mind as I was watching it.
Huh. See, I kind of thought it was more about not so much about him. Yeah, he was a prodigy in the film, but I thought a lot more about the relationship with his family than about him. Yeah, but yeah, I agree. I see that.
I saw this movie like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was just kind of not impressed by it when I first watched it. I thought there's all this fuss about this being perhaps one of the best movies of this year and all that. And but then watching it again, which I did, I kind of get it. And it was a little long, like Pete said, but it's in 3 parts. It's like a 3-part play. You can almost cut it up that way. You could knock one of them off maybe and still get in under 2 hours. But I have to admit that I don't know how many people, this could be why it didn't do very well at the box office. There wasn't a lot of buzz that ran people to the theater to go see this. People just kind of checked it out and they went, yeah, it's okay. But giving it a critical eye made me appreciate it more. And of course, I've always been a fan of Spielberg's work and always thought he was a genius. But
yeah,
for whatever that's worth, I just thought I'd throw that out there. That second viewing was worth it.
Can anybody help me figure out why this cost $40 million?
Let's see.
There's nobody in it except Michelle Williams.
Yeah.
And
Those Lionel trains are expensive.
Yeah.
And all that sand they had to make a beach with,
Yeah, no kidding. Kept waiting for the shark.
And the time machine by itself would cost a fortune.
Wow. There you go. I struggled with this. I can't figure out how it got a nomination for anything.
Really interesting.
Well, photography. Maybe
You got 8 of them or 7 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best picture.
Yep.
Oh, help me, God.
But don't you think could part of that be because a guy named Steven Spielberg was
Oh,
associated with?
possibly.
Yeah, you think?
Well,
No,
let-
I agree. It's certainly not one of his best movies by any
Right.
stretch. I mean, we know all of his, but I did think it was kind of a sweet, sweet, charming, and I like the relationships, but again, not his best movie for sure.
Has anyone seen Armageddon Time with Anthony Hopkins?
Mm-mm.
I watched that this past week, and there's a lot of similar things to it. It's a Jewish family where grandpa is a major character, and that's what part he plays with the young boy. The parents have trouble trying to communicate with him, but grandpa can always talk to him. And I don't know, it was like I watched two Jewish family movies in a week, and it also reminded me of Avalon. Anyone ever seen Avalon? It was a Barry Levinson film.
is that about the theater?
No, it's about two boys. It's about moving to the suburbs. They lived in the Bronx, and everybody lived in the same brownstone family. And then they sold TVs, and TVs became popular, and they made a lot of money. And so then the family split up, and they moved out to suburbia, and they all bought cars. And it was just I don't know. That one it came out in about like 1989.
Oh,
If you ever get a chance, it's probably, out there as a rental or something, but I don't think it's something you see on late night TV or anything. But anyway, I can see what Swedish Mike is saying. I kind of felt the same way. Best picture, but everybody in Hollywood loves Spielberg.
yeah.
Everybody in
Maybe
Hollywood
it's-
loves Hollywood, which is kind
Yeah. Maybe it's just a lifetime achievement award for him, throwing him in there, throwing him in the best picture again. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm pretty ambivalent on this as well, except for I think Judd Hirsch steals the movie. I just think the time that he's on screen, what is he, 15 minutes maybe tops. He sets up the theme, the emotional theme for the movie. He's a strong character. He reminded me a little bit of his character in the movie in Independence Day, where he also played a very Jewish man. Almost to the extreme. But I thought that he laid down the emotional base for this thing, or at least spelled it out, and that was pretty good. I enjoyed watching the process of discovery of Spielberg falling in love with movies and film, probably more so than I did the underlying emotional trip that his family went through.
Mike, I agree with that point. At the beginning, when they take him to the movie, and when they put the camera on his face, and his eyes are all bright and lit up when he's watching.
Right.
I mean, that was kind of, you could tell there was an epiphany going on with him. I thought that was a pretty powerful scene there. So
Yeah.
like I said, it's a great storyline. I guess I couldn't get over my hang up about, it just felt like the Mutual Admiration Society for Steve Spielberg a little bit there, which
I did like
again,
how
that maybe is
he
unfair on my part.
recreated the car train wreck.
What's that?
Yeah.
I did like how he recreated the car train wreck.
Yeah.
And I really like that, putting a pinprick in the film so that when he made that Western, and he thought it looked so fake without bullets being shot.
Gunfire.
Firing.
So he
Yeah.
puts a pinprick in the film itself so it looks like they're being shot. I thought that, he was just a genius. Because of that, I went and I saw his first, you guys have probably seen Duel, right? The movie he did, his first TV movie.
That's where
With
the
the-
semi is chasing, is that Dennis,
Yes.
what's his name?
Dennis
Dennis
Weaver?
Weaver,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
But he also did Night Gallery with Joan Crawford. And this, she didn't want it. He had never done anything before. She didn't want him. And they said, come on, give him a chance. And she talked to him and she said, okay. And then said he was like the best thing that ever happened. And so I watched that. I watched the one with Joan Crawford on Night Gallery. It's on, something. And he is pretty amazing. He does change so much. He just looks at a story differently, and that's what's so interesting about him.
I like David Lynch.
Oh, yes. David Lynch was amazing, and according to Spielberg, that out of everything that's in the movie, that is exactly word for word what John Ford said. So, and it sounded like, it took him 10 minutes before he even said a word. He's just licking that cigar or whatever. Yeah. That was good. That was worth it.
And Bob made us watch so many John Ford movies.
Yep.
So do you think that you would want to have this story about your parents out there as a feature film?
Well, no, but it is kind of an interesting, well, he didn't either. He didn't want to do this until, they died, which is when it happened. Yeah. Because he was afraid.
I thought he said that he talked to his mom about it real late in her life, and she said, go ahead and do it.
Oh, yeah. He wanted them since 99 is when they had talked about it, and both parents wanted him to do it.
All right.
But he kept on putting it off and putting it off because he was afraid that they're not going to be really appreciative of how he's going to depict him and his sisters and them. And, Bert, the other one. So, but they both wanted him to do it. He just was kind of afraid to do it until they were gone. So,
Terry, what do you got?
Will anybody recognize Paul Dano, the father
oh yes,
from There Will Be
yes.
Blood? And I think he's a really good actor. I enjoy watching him. He plays a really good bad person. Or some other
Well,
movie he made called Vanish or something where he was kidnapping people and keeping them in a hole in the yard and stuff like that. But yeah, I like watching that actor.
He is a really good engineer, kind of a nerd.
We got a nickname for Pete now. Pete now is Bert, because there he is sitting in the theater between Stevie's mom and dad.
Bert.
I've been called worse.
Wasn't the guy's name Bernie?
I don't know.
That's what
I thought it was
Yeah.
Bert. Maybe it's Bernie.
Well,
I don't.
the
Yeah,
dad-
I
I think it was Bernie.
Uncle Bernie, yeah.
yeah.
Bert and Bernie.
I like Bert better anyway.
How about Burnt? Burnt.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed watching his film progression. His ability in filmmaking get better. That was interesting.
Mhm.
With the blood and stuff at the end. And, I found the mother character just annoying as hell. I don't know if she's got, if she's bipolar or what, but I don't know. She bugged me. But,
That's funny.
well, yeah, I mean,
When she was
overall,
dancing around in the yard and the sun was going through her dress,
Mhm.
I knew then that, oh yeah, there's some hijinks going on here.
That was car headlights.
Seth Rogen was way too engrossed in her dance routine.
Yeah, it's funny. My wife kind of popped in about 15 minutes into the movie and was watching it with me, and she knew right from the beginning that something was off between those two.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get
Yeah.
it till later on.
You didn't pick it up, huh?
What did your wife say? What tipped your wife off?
I'm not sure exactly. Just whatever their interaction was the first time she saw them both together or something. she knew.
There were
it was-
lots of clues they
Yeah.
There
Oh,
was.
yeah.
early.
I think it was
to
foreshadowed multiple times.
The
Oh, yeah.
I remember the dinner room scene where I think it was the mother-in-law. She said he is not a family friend. You know, she's
Right.
telling the children that.
Yeah, that's right.
He's not a member of the family. And he's
Now I
not.
remember
Yeah.
she knew what was going on, and that was foreshadowing.
She could have amped up her role a little bit.
Mhm.
Well,
I
yeah.
thought the interposition of the um, Christian girl sort of trying to go after Stephen was very funny.
Yeah.
Especially she had that kind of two-sided Christian girl thing where she was ready to hop his bones, but she wanted to
Yeah.
also convert him. She wanted him to breathe in Jesus at the
Breathe
same
it
time
in.
as breathing
know.
her. Yeah, I thought that was a great sequence in there. And she found out his parents were getting divorced and was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not on
Yeah,
prom. Don't tell me that on prom.
Yeah.
You're ruining my prom. What the hell?
Oh, God.
Yeah, he was infatuated with her, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Reminds me
he
of girls.
was.
Reminds
So-
me of girls at church camp.
Oh yeah, tell us more.
There's always those little things that go on at church camp when you're about 13, right, Mike?
I was there. Yeah.
Church camp.
One thing about where we went, just to give you an idea, they had these gazebos just like built out in the woods. Was it Camp Galilee? Is where we were.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, and every gazebo had a ping pong table and a piano. And Jeff, of course, could play the piano. And so Jeff would sit down and start, and it was totally out of tune. It'd been out in the weather and all that kind of stuff. Jeff could sit there and play the piano. And he would draw a crowd of Christian girls who heard the piano and came walking over. And so Jeff was kind of like my wingman at this deal.
It's playing my lyre. Yeah.
Right. He was bringing up to the cliffs.
So were you there holding a paddle going ping pong anyone?
Yeah.
I was, yeah,
Just play the piano.
I was quite the ping pong player, but no girls really wanted to do that. So.
That's funny.
I think like this the way he manipulated his high school classmates,
Oh,
that
yes.
probably deserves a few observations. I mean,
Mhm.
he did what he did the film for them, and he put it together, and then he I don't know, everybody got mad, or
Well,
very
yeah.
few of them were happy, but
The
the one
Ditch Day
hothead,
film.
Well, the guy that was so, they were so awful to him, and he made one of them a hero. I mean, that's the power, the power of film makes one of them a hero. And he's so guilty for treating this guy so bad, and he turns him into a hero. But then he made the other guy look like a real jerk. And, I just, again, the power of film to manipulate people and feelings and how they feel about the movie maker. I thought that was interesting. Just really
There was
good.
kind of an expression on his face after he showed that film to everybody. He went didn't he go into the lockers and kind of was like, oh my God. But I think he
went down a hallway. Yeah, went down a hallway.
had the realization that he had this power to do these things. And then this guy came and just reinforced that by falling apart in front of him.
Yeah.
I think that had to reinforce his desire to take his messages out to the public, because he realized that medium had so much energy and power in it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I thought he was just being distraught because the girl broke up with him.
Huh. I kind of got it that he wasn't sure how the film was how people were gonna react. That's what and he was so distraught. It's like, oh, did I Are they not going to like it? Like any artist, I think they're just afraid that
Well-
people aren't going to like it.
I think he started to become aware of the power of the filmmaking work when he was doing the combat movie because he has the
Yeah.
commander, the platoon leader said, look, your character is responsible for all this. You could have kept your troops over here and not made a move, and maybe they'd be alive today. Instead, you ran into the ambush, and they're all dead. So he motivated his actor there to come across, and was either the actor was crying at the end or was so then into his character that he just kept walking out even after they called cut. And then with the jock in the Ditch Day movie, I kind of think, I've cut a little video in my day, and when you get a good character and you can take that character somewhere, it's pretty neat feeling to be able to do it. I mean, in a film or something that's not as subjective as a news story. I mean, in a news story, you certainly got some limitations on it, but I think he went, hey, look, I may hate your guts, but you made it a so much better movie, and it was just irresistible to him.
I think some of the foreshadowing of that is when his mother confronted him and said, "What is wrong with you? You talk to me," and he couldn't really tell her, but he could show her.
Yeah.
He threads the projector and he closes the doors and steps away, and then of course she sits there and cries and realizes what happened. But I think that's at the point where he realized it speaks for him to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Camera could do that.
Well, I think that's why E.T., remember it's a single mother, the parents are divorced. The same with Close Encounters. You've got a family that's breaking apart because of this obsession. So yeah, I think Spielberg recognizes, does a lot of talking through his films.
And then
He's been married 2 or 3 times, right? And he's been married to his last wife for a long time.
Right. I think he's only been married twice, but I might be wrong about that. The first one was that, oh God, it was the girl in Carrie, real pretty blue eyes. I can't remember her name.
Sissy Spacek?
No, not the Spacek character, one of the bad girls, actually, I think.
All right, okay.
But she was at the very end. She's the one that brings the
Oh, is she the one that Carrie grabs the hand of from the grave?
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yes. Now that was his first wife, and I think he had some children with her. And then the second wife is the one that was in Temple of Doom.
Kate
MU
Capshaw.
graduate Kate Cupshaw.
Yeah,
Capshaw.
Kate Capshaw.
Capshaw.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that-
Luann
and-
was telling me she watched the movie with me and said Kate Capshaw was in her youth group at church in St.
Oh,
Louis.
really?
Yeah, so
Well,
she had to convert to Judaism to marry him.
yeah,
Kate
I
Capshaw
like-
did.
Yeah,
yeah.
So
she was a Methodist.
And unless the pictures on the walls of Bryant's Barbecue are forgeries, Spielberg and Kate Capshaw have been in Bryant's Barbecue having lunch a couple of times. Their pictures are prominently displayed on the wall.
Mhm. That's right.
Yeah,
Wow.
but do they have any black icons on the wall, right? That's what we need to check.
Arthur Bryant.
That's right.
Now, I think they have Obama, but I don't think Arthur was still alive then.
Yeah.
Uh,
They got pictures there of Mr. Bryant with Jimmy Carter, though. I know that.
Yeah.
Carter, yeah.
Oh.
Tom Watson.
Yeah.
Wow.
Arthur Bryant's on the North Pole.
Yeah.
That's there.
my dad, there were 3 kids in the family. My dad, we could feed ourselves on 2 sandwiches and 1 order of fries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably
Uh,
true.
So, what did you think of this line that he had with was it John Landis? That's the director, right? Said John Landis said something like, "Okay, you see that picture up there?" He goes, "If it's on the horizon, it's boring. If it's below the
Oh, John
horizon
Ford.
Oh, you mean
or
David Lynch?
above the
Yeah, John
horizon,
Ford.
then it's good." You know, and that's
Yeah.
like that was the only advice he gave him.
Yeah, and then of
But-
course at the end of the movie, they do it. You know, it cuts to the horizon being lower. I mean,
Yeah,
that was
he
pretty
dropped
funny.
the camera. He's walking
Yeah.
off in the lot,
Yeah.
and then he went, "Oh, it's like the
Yeah,
camera out
yeah,
there remembering
exactly.
this."
He got
I
it.
was thinking
Yeah.
of Terry then because Finch was talking about, or Ford was talking about art, and would you agree with that supposition, Terry?
What was that?
If you put, he said, "Where's the horizon?" He said, "If it's up high, that's interesting. If it's down low, that's interesting. But if it's in the middle, that's shit because that's not interesting."
I don't know. Everybody has their own opinion.
I think it'd be better for you guys, you two Mikes. You're more video type production guys. You know, have you ever heard that before?
No,
I'd never heard it before, but I don't disagree with it.
yeah.
No, I don't either.
I think the only thing we look for, or I used to look for as a young reporter, was that it was level, you know, that you got the horizon level. There's a
Yeah,
level
yeah,
on the tripod
that's pretty the
setting up. You just don't want it
Yeah.
to be crooked.
Stop in San Francisco.
Although sometimes you did want to be crooked, not so much in news stories, but in film or in a documentary, a keystone frame like that would indicate some disagreement or some discord.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
so what it does is a level horizon cuts the picture plane exactly in half, which makes it boring.
Yeah.
If it's below or above, you have imbalance. You have it's dynamic because there's a large versus a small or small versus the large, but right in the middle, it does
Doesn't
tend to make things too even.
yeah. Doesn't the Mona Lisa, doesn't she have an uneven horizon? I think I'm pretty sure that the horizon on the Mona Lisa is uneven. I'm pretty
Don't
sure
remember there
about
being
that.
a horizon. I'm just looking at the picture behind Terry, and it's like the
Yeah.
skyline. I guess that's the
And it's
horizon.
3/4. Yeah.
Yeah,
And behind
it's
you
up high.
too. Yeah.
Now, do you think the reason it has dynamism is because it's asking for resolution to middle, but it never gets there?
Well, there's just always an imbalance with more versus less versus more. When they're actually even, it's not that interesting.
Yeah. You and David Lynch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you holding up, Bill?
He's trying to hold up the Mona Lisa.
I got the Mona Lisa.
Oh, I think that if you look in the background,
I didn't know she had a
something weird
beard.
about.
I
Yeah,
can't
It's
get
not
it to
coming up,
show.
though.
I can't get
She's
it to show.
invisible.
On
Well,
my
tell
screen,
us what you see.
Mona Lisa looks like Judd Hirsch.
In his underwear.
I
have to since we don't have much time, I know that you guys will like this. I think I have a recommendation. It's The Real Inglorious Bastards. It's the real guys that movie is based on. I thought it was really good. It's really interesting, and what they went through. Oh my God, it was just good. Anyway, that's on. I don't have where it's on, but this was free. And then there's another one. Oh, The Consultant, Christoph Waltz, and this one is a series. That's interesting, but a little weird. But I like watching Christoph Waltz anyway.
I just started watching that, Donna, because he was a guest of Bill Maher on Real
Yeah,
Time with Bill
right.
Maher. they were talking. So I checked out the first
Yeah,
couple of episodes of that. So yeah,
yeah.
not bad. I haven't
And
gone all the
there's
way through it
another,
yet.
yeah, it's interesting. But you'll see, it's interesting. And then the other one that I watched that was pretty interesting was called Live to Lead. And it's kind of the documentary, well, mini documentaries of these different leaders, like Nelson Mandela. And it's actually produced by the Duchess and Duke, Meghan and Harry, but they're not in it. They just kind of and then there was Nelson Mandela, there was Gloria Steinem, there's just a bunch of different people. And I thought that was interesting as well. So, and maybe another one that Micah, well, you maybe would like, maybe not. I don't know. Robert Downey Jr. He does a film about his father, and the name of it is Senior. And his father is dying of Parkinson's, but his father was a movie producer and director. So it's kind of again, it's a family relationship, kind of like this in a way, but it was kind of interesting. If you like Robert Downey Jr., his father was really, I didn't realize this. I'm sorry, what? Oh, anyway. So those are just some of the things that I thought, but I really think you guys would like the Inglorious Bastards, the real
Hey,
ones.
Donna, say what you were about to say about Downey's father again, because whatever that noise was, interrupted you.
Well, he was a movie director, did a lot of independent films. I did not know that. He's done a lot of independent films, and he's off the wall kind of director, kind of like almost like almost kind of Monty Python-ish, that kind. And I guess he did quite a few, but I didn't know any of them. But Robert Downey Jr. goes through a lot of that stuff, but his father gets progressively worse through this movie.
What's the name of that one?
That's called Senior, or SR, I guess. But it's
Downey Senior.
Patty had that on the other night. I watched like a half hour of it or so, the last half hour. It was pretty interesting.
It is interesting, yeah. Parts of it. Some of it's real home movie-ish. Some of it is kind of interesting, but then they've got cuts in there of Robert Senior's old movies that he had done, and when Robert Jr. was a kid, but acting and all that stuff. So it's just kind of interesting. And if you want one for the kids, for the grandkids, it's called We Have a Ghost. Yeah, it's kind of a fun, cute little ditty. Those were my recommendations. Anyone else?
Mike, Long Mike, I took your recommendation and watched Fantastic Voyage as an homage to Raquel Welch.
Yeah.
And
You're welcome.
cheesy, campy, hilarious
I know.
attempt at special effects, but it was, it was worth the 90 minutes or whatever that I spent. Raquel Welch did not say anything for like the first 20 minutes of the movie. There's just a lot of
didn't have to.
I can't. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
No,
Well, I love
actually
the
saw that
idea.
I saw that at the Arbor Theater with a date
Yeah.
back in 1966 when that came out, and I had a hard time not looking at the screen when she had her wetsuit on.
Oh, well, of course. I
1956,
remember
you
seeing
said?
that and thinking what a great idea. I mean, how clever it was to have this little, and now they do have little cameras, but having this little submarine that's a camera that's with all of them on there. I just thought it was so fun going through the corpuscles and going through the
when we were watching
all
it, they're wearing their suits that they wear inside the submarine or whatever, and then Cecilia goes, "Well, when are we going to see her wear something tight fit with a zipper?" Well, got to go out and unclog those vents on the submarine, so she goes into the wetsuit. There's the tight fitting suit with the zipper on there. So
Yep, there you go.
And she gets
mission
attacked-
accomplished.
She gets attacked by antibodies and they have to peel them off of her. That was
That's right. That's right. The antibodies were attacking. Yes. But that's what I loved about it. It was just so, so clever.
I was when they were tearing those antibodies off of her and they were like crystallizing, you know.
Yeah.
I was watching to see how close that guy's hands would get to her breasts and
Oh,
pulling them off. He's like, he's
Only
right on the
guys.
perimeter there.
Only guys, I swear.
I mean, over the years, I was like always terrified thinking about that boat coming out the eyeball, you know, and
Oh, yeah.
just starting to get too big too soon. Yeah, it's like, oh
yeah.
God.
Oh, yeah. But again, clever. Yeah, that was fun.
Well, I've got a couple Armageddon Time with forgot his
Yeah,
name already.
looks
Anthony
like-
Hopkins. If you want another
Yeah.
Jewish family movie, he was trying. I think in this movie he was shooting for Best Supporting Actor, but he did not get a nomination. But it's still it's a good little movie about a young Jewish boy who gets in trouble at school and he's picked on. And all that kind of stuff. Anthony Hopkins tries to keep him straight while it's all going on. And it's on Peacock Premium, I think, is where that is right now.
Okay.
So you don't have to rent it, but it is available as a rental too. And then the other one I want to throw out there, and I thought you guys might enjoy this. If anybody familiar with, I think her name is Eileen Brannigan,
Yeah.
Kathleen Madigan.
Oh, I love Kathleen Madigan.
Yeah.
Absolutely love her.
Stand-up comedian who is from St. Louis, who actually
Mhm.
grew up
Right.
in
She's from-
Ferguson.
And
And
yeah, Irish Catholic girls' school.
yeah, this is her special is called "Don't Bother Jesus," because when she was talking about the difference between evangelicals and Catholics, they'll say, "Oh, are you Christian?" And she'll say, "Yeah, I'm Catholic." And they go, "Well, I meant Christian, you know,
Yeah,
really Christian."
big difference.
And she says, you know, one thing about evangelicals is they know Jesus personally. You know, they talk to him every day and all this. As a young Catholic girl, I was taught never bother Jesus. There's a lot of other people you've got to contact first. You know, you can
Right.
call your guardian
You have to go
angel,
up
they're
the
not
chain.
doing anything.
Yeah,
You can go to the saint in charge of that thing or whatever you're talking about. You can talk to Mother Mary, but don't bother Jesus.
that's right.
And it's like a little over an hour, and it's just I laughed my rear end off. So,
I know. Oh, I just love her. She's so
and then I
funny.
found out that she was once dating. I can't think of the older comedian that's always yells at you all the time. I forget.
Sam Kinniston.
No,
Gallagher? No.
But that's
Contemporary.
close.
no, contemporary. I'll remember when we get off probably. But anyway, he actually opened for her on this gig. But they, for a time, they dated, but then they broke up. But they're good friends.
Are you thinking of Louis Black?
Yes.
Yeah.
Louis-
Oh gosh.
That's exactly
Wow.
it. Mike, thanks. So anyway, I thought you guys might like the Kathleen Madigan. It's hard not to laugh out loud at that lady.
All right, well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what the
City-an, isn't
movie. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say Kathleen's a Kansas City, and her parents are.
Yeah, her dad at one time was a big dog, and I mean big dog lawyer in St. Louis, and I think he was also heavily involved in St. Louis Democratic City politics and county politics, and the Madigan name is really well known in East Missouri political circles.
Related to the Illinois Madigan.
I don't know.
I don't know.
All right. Well, the movie for next week. I wanted to tell you guys this first, though. So it's Patty decided to Do the Right Thing. You know, she's just up there watching it, and I said, "Well," I said, "You want to see the our Zoom meeting about it, and she goes, "Okay." And so she watched our Zoom meeting. So I go to YouTube and I just type in LUFC right thing. It was the first one that came up, and so
How many followers do we have?
Yeah,
3.
I don't know.
9.
We
10,
lost
10.
5.
But
That's
Patty said she would be a follower if I would log in. I haven't logged in. So anyway, she watched it and she goes, and then she watched the movie, which is free this month. I guess tomorrow's the last day for it to be free. But anyway, she said, that Zoom thing, that was really good. She goes, that really told me a lot about the movie. And so she liked them both. She really liked the movie, it really was a great movie, I think.
Well, she can
Oh,
watch
yeah.
this one tomorrow.
Well, you never know. You never know. We got her hooked.
Yeah. Had she been drinking while she watched the Zoom?
Well, it's hard to tell when she's not drinking. So,
Oh, hey,
so
Bill,
anyway,
just a reminder.
This is recorded, Bill.
Yeah. Oh, Bill. Oh, that was a big no.
Get the editing tools out. So I'm gonna.
Why did they split up? Well, apparently there was a Zoom video. And...
Yeah, this one won't make it now.
You finally showed her the outtakes.
So I'm gonna pivot on this. I had another one picked, but I think this will be a lot more fun. I'm gonna do the Banshees of Inisherin.
Oh, wow.
Because I know a lot of us have watched it, but it's never been the pick.
Right.
And it's free on HBO and it's $4 or $3 on Prime. And I think it'd make a really good discussion, coming right into St. Patty's Day and all that. And I think it'd make a great discussion for our group. So I'm gonna pick that one. And I guess if you've already seen it and you don't want to watch it again, that's fine. Probably know enough about it. But
everybody that hasn't seen it, go into it thinking about dark humor.
Yes, this is definitely black humor. Yeah,
it's good.
And also think about it possibly winning the Academy Award, because it could.
You have to be in the right frame of mind. You've got to get in that Irish frame of mind that kind of is. It's snarky and I don't know. It's good. It's kind of interesting and so Irish.
Isn't it Everything Everywhere's thing to lose
all the time?
I don't know that, but I think that it just won the SAG award. Best. I don't know if she won Best Picture, but she won Best Actress.
I think it won Best Picture.
It did.
It Golden Globes, I think it did, and the
Golden Globes.
Yeah, I think it's theirs to lose.
The Golden Gloves, isn't that boxing?
There weren't any black people there. But...
Hey, when you were talking about
get out there and duels.
When you said it was available for a short time, Women Talking is going to be on Amazon Prime as a subscription on 11 days from Saturday, I think it is. So
wow.
March 8th or something. It's before the Academy Awards, but after our next meeting.
So just subscription then?
It's just if you've
got Prime,
Prime Video. If you have Prime Video, you can watch it. Or at least that's what they said. They might lie and charge $19.99. I don't know.
Oh no.
I want to see that.
It is hard to say what they'll pick. It's so political. You can make the argument that it would be the Fablesman.
No, you can't.
You could.
No, you can't.
Inside isn't it all the actors and all that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mike. I think. I think I wouldn't be surprised if it wins a major award just because it's Spielman and it's Hollywood loves Hollywood.
Yeah, but he's already won Best Director how many times? 2 or 3 times, hasn't he?
Twice. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's already got the Best Director. Has he won any best movie?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think,
Well,
I
maybe.
wanted to make.
I think Schindler's
I wanted
List
to-
won Best Movie.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
think you're
yeah.
right. Yes. Schindler's List. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff.
So-
I wanted to mention a movie that's on Apple called Sharper, which is a very twisty movie. If people haven't seen that, I think Mike saw it.
I did. It's a thriller and it's a whodunit, and it changes all the time.
Oh, I like it.
Every
Great.
time you think you've got a handle on it, they go in a different direction.
And it's called
What'd you say it was,
Sharper.
Jeff?
Jeff, you weren't here last week, but I want to thank you, and I think Terry does too, for Chaco Canyon. Really
Oh,
enjoyed
good.
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Buddy.
Yeah, I just stumbled on that. It was fascinating to me too.
Yeah, it's a 24-year-old movie,
Yeah,
Really? Yeah.
1999.
Yeah.
just
Jeff, I'm
pops
sorry,
back
what-
up.
What was the name of the movie you just recommended?
Sharper,
Sharper.
and sharper is a
Sharper.
word for somebody who lives by their wits.
Right.
Sharper.
Who's in it?
Juliana Moore and some other people I don't know as well.
Lithgow and
John
Stan
Lithgow. Oh, yeah.
and Stan Sebastian. I don't know if you guys have ever seen him, but he plays a great bad guy, and he's the main con man in this thing.
Sharper.
What's his name?
Stan, it's Sebastian Stan. He's got his name backwards. That's it. Sebastian Stan. That's what he goes.
Two first names.
I'll be darned.
Washington Irving.
He was in a movie
George
called
Michael.
Fresh. I don't know if anybody happened to see Fresh. It came out a couple of years ago. It was about a guy who was meeting women online and then getting them drugged and cutting their arm or leg off and eating it.
Oh,
Okay, that sounds good.
oh gosh.
Terry, what do you
Fresh.
think?
Yeah, Terry, was that one of your recommendations?
No, I think boxing Helena is better.
Oh, please, yes.
That's actually on my list if I ever see available. That's actually on my list.
Oh,
So who will be picking a movie next time?
well, Bill, right?
Well, Bill picked it this time.
This is saying who would be next.
Oh,
Probably me.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
think Jeff picked one not too long ago, and so I think it's me.
Okay.
I just went because I'm going to be next 2 Mondays. I don't know if I'll be here or not. I will try, but I don't
You'll
know.
be cruising. You'll be
I
cruising.
will be cruising. Yes.
Are you going to have time to do
Drinking.
notes?
Pardon me?
Are you going to have time to do notes?
I will try to. Yeah, unless someone wants to, but no, I'll try to. And
Nobody wants to.
just
Yeah, good
checking,
try.
just checking.
Oh yeah, I got to go on a trip too next week.
Did you read Terry's notes when he sent his out? It was like, I can just get through this.
Yeah. That's right.
Well,
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that it's all was in fun. It was kind of tongue in cheek. I wasn't really that upset. I was just trying to be funny, and I don't know if it was funny or not, but
It was funny.
There was.
Yeah.
All right, guys and girls. Well,
Yeah.
All right.
that was
I'll see
fun.
you.
Thanks, Don.
I shall, and I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks, or I'll see you next week. We'll see.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Take care, everybody.
Take
All
care.
right.
Bye.
Good
Hey,
pick. See you
Mahoney.
later.